This is a test of the Boundary Park alert system. Hello and welcome to a very sunny Boundary Park alert system. Spring is here. It was at this moment in the editing process that I realised that my microphone had let me down again. Unfortunately, this isn't the only incident. In this week's podcast, the podcast is limping over the line very much in the same way that the team are, I'm afraid. The season is almost over. But for how long? We could still have a whole other month to go. It's we're entering unprecedented territory here, where we actually are going beyond the regulated number of games, and I'm delighted to be discussing that this morning from London, from where we could all be descending in just a month or so. Andy, how are you? All right, mate.
Hi, morning. How are you?
Yeah, I'm all right. Yeah, good. Yeah. You got a new vista. There's a new vista there, Andy. I can see your back garden, which you can't normally do.
Yeah, this is not. It's not really for an audio podcast. This is it, where people don't know. But yeah, I've got a little bit of a studio built outside in the garden for my wife, who does weight training for people, and I've put the recording equipment in here. So a bit like you've got one, I've got one now. It's not quite as good as yours, but it'll do.
You know, Rome wasn't built in a day, Andy.
That's definitely true when it comes to Latics, isn't it?
It definitely is, yeah. But yeah, nice one. That's excellent. That, and I've got the house myself today, so I've got no barking dog to contend with or anything like that, which is nice. And yeah, but we are joined by a special guest as usual, somebody who I believe was at Forest Green yesterday. And no, you weren't. All right,
Nope.
Okay. All right, okay. Well, that I mean, what I was going to say is it did look a bit like carnage down there yesterday, so it would have been quite amusing to have had somebody on who was there. But never mind, he's a first-time guest, so we will go through the usual questions. Andy, take it away, mate.
So, good morning, fan guest. Can you tell us, when was your first game?
Good morning, Andy. It was 2006, Oldham 3, Leighton Orient 3.
That's not a bad start, is it? Was that
No.
so a League One game?
Yes, League One, yeah. It was
Was that a playoff season?
Yeah.
Yeah, a good place to start, isn't it? The last time we were in the playoffs was your very first season.
Yeah, all downhill since.
Yeah.
Who was your first favourite player then?
Ooh. None of them. Probably Jose Baxter, because I was about 13 at that age. 12, 13 when he was there. And we had the Everton games, the Liverpool one, in school at the point. So, yeah, probably Jose Baxter.
Yeah, he was a great player at the time. I mean, that shows you how badly starved we've been, isn't it? Is really, he was a bit part player for us, really, but he was probably one of the shining stars in a team that was pretty poor. But yeah, I mean, I liked it.
We had some good players in that 2006, 7, 8, 9 kind of era, though, didn't we? As well.
Yeah.
So there were some good players: Chris Taylor, Andy Little, etc. But yeah. Anyway, crack on, sorry.
What is your favourite Latics related memory?
Oof. I don't want to say Fulham because everyone says Fulham. I quite enjoyed Harrogate away under Salim Benachour, was it called? It was entertaining, to say the least.
I mean, I find. Well, maybe we'll get into that a bit more. But does that mean you enjoy the piss boil?
It's a good answer, to be fair.
Potentially.
It's a good answer. Okay. Yeah, it's a good answer. It's like a dark side answer, isn't it? It's like the Darth Vader answer.
Yeah, exactly. And I guess before we introduce you by name, can you give us a little known fact about yourself?
I've got no idea, to be fair.
You've had weeks to prepare this. You've had since the South End game to prepare this.
I forgot this question were coming up, so off the top, I've got no idea off the top of my head.
Tell us a secret then. Tell us a dirty secret.
You wouldn't want to know.
I'm trying to catch you out here while you're off guard. It didn't work.
No.
Well, all right. Reveal yourself then. Who are you?
Sam Bottomley.
Well, welcome, Sam, to the podcast. Nice to have you on.
Yeah, you approached me at the shore side, didn't you, during the Southend game and said,
"Yes,
be on the podcast." And I said,
we were enjoying it, weren't we?
Oh, it was a great game and a great day. Welcome, Sam. You'll know Sam if you go around. You sit in the Rochester Road, and don't you? Stand in the Rochester Road and whatever, and you go quite a lot of away games.
Yeah,
you like the odd shandy.
Oh, you could say that, yeah.
Yeah, that's why I thought you were a bit, because you said you were a bit rough this morning, or you were out last night. I assumed that you were at Forest Green, but you weren't.
Yeah, no, I didn't want to ruin another Saturday watching Mickey Mellon's football, so I had a lovely day up in the Lake District, and then went to a gig last night. So
went to a gig.
Yeah. So
who did you go and see?
Few beers. A Alice in Chains and Pearl Jam tribute bands.
Oh yeah, was it good?
Academy 3 in Manchester. It was very good, yeah.
Oh, brilliant, yeah. Nice one. Excellent, right. Well, speaking of, I guess, the grunge era, could possibly be defined, and you mentioned it yourself, didn't you? Mickey Mellon's football, could it be described as grunge? Is it football grunge? Who watched the game yesterday?
I didn't watch it, I listened to it. Did you watch it?
Sam, you were in the Lake District, so does that mean you didn't watch it?
I got home in time. I switched on and it was on the 55th minute, and then I watched about 5 minutes and had a nap. I fell asleep. So, I didn't watch it, and I'm glad I didn't, to be honest.
I mean, I tried to watch it, but it just wasn't very compelling. It was. I kept reaching for my phone to, look at, scroll mindlessly and sort of keep an eye on it, but it was. I actually thought that the first half was fairly even. I thought we were all right in the first half. Probably edged it really, but then they scored a good goal right at the end of the half, and then second half was just didn't show up. I think probably bearing in mind that we don't really seem to have much in the way of feedback on the game. Because it wasn't greatly watched. Shall we have a listen to what Mickey Mellon made of it first, and then we can talk about that, can't we, and things in general.
Mickey, how would you sum up that afternoon?
First half okay. When the game changed, we needed to do more. You get the kind of moments you've got to get the better of your opponent, or the guys that did so well for us against York. And you get into the moments higher up the pitch, you're looking for a wee bit more, a wee bit of spark, a wee bit of doing a bit with the ball to make it difficult for them, or getting on top. But too many times we either under hit it or over hit it and didn't find that way in. Also, I don't think we were under major pressure. We lost a goal at a really, really poor time from a straight free kick that we must do better when the guy dances across with the 18-yard box, and we've got to do better there. But listen, you've got to get better at this type of football at this time of the season. The players that you want to, you need to do well in certain areas in all areas of the team, but the ones that are the main people for us, if you like, in terms of creating us chances or whatever, or winning battles in certain areas, they need to stand up and be counted, and maybe enough didn't do that today, and the game kind of just drifted away a little bit, but we have to move on.
Was that the difference between the size of those creative players you mentioned?
Yeah, and I think they made less mistakes than us. But creative players, or the jobs that need to be done, people need to come out on top consistently in order for you to give you a chance. And we probably didn't do that consistently enough today, but maybe not winning enough headers at the back, or not picking up knockdowns, or when we get it wide, we need to see more of a threat, or when it goes up front, we need to see more. So that's what people's got to do.
You mentioned the draw at York on Monday. The lineup you went with, obviously 2 changes, 1 enforced. Was that the idea, to try and build on that and take the positive aspects?
Got to give him a go again. He deserved a go again. And yeah, you want to build on that. You want to build something onto that. But today, first half we were all right. we got down the sides a couple of times we could have done better. They didn't really do much either. But then the second half when the game changed and it asked you to do something different, we maybe never adapted enough of the players that we need to do a wee bit more. Maybe didn't.
Home advantage still to play for in the playoffs. Is that the obviously so focused now going into the final game of the season?
But regardless of what happened now, we want to get to the last game and win. So we'll focus on trying to win the last game.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you. Cheers, guys.
Short and sweet, wasn't it? There from Mickey Mellon. Andy, what do you make of that?
Ain't it? Really, it's. I mean, I listened to the whole game yesterday. Like this is my thinking in the week. I could have gone yesterday. I was umming and ahhing all week as to whether to go or not and take my lad. And I kept coming down to the conclusion that if we won or we got a point and competed well and we finished fourth, we could end up going to Forest Green again in a playoff game. And I'd rather go to the playoff game. If you've ever been to Forest Green before, it's not somewhere you want to go twice in the space of 5 weeks. Right. So I was like, I'm going to save it for if we get there. And then I was thinking, if we get beat there, then we're going to be playing York away. So that's been more for me to, progress through the playoffs.
It's at this point that Andy's internet connection drops off, leaving myself and Sam to discuss the matters of the day alone while he tries to fix it. Sam, you mentioned before about not wanting to go to watch a Mickey Mellon game of football. What do you make of his post-match and just in general, how are you feeling at this stage in the season?
Very deflated, to say the least. We're not going to do anything in the playoffs. We'll limp out. We'll get that home tie against, is it either Halifax or Gateshead it's going to be. It looks like. We just need to win the last game, don't we? We'll get a big crowd. We'll limp out at the first hurdle. Just watching that interview, he can't motivate anyone. I don't know how he's got 5 promotions under his belt, because it's season after season collapse. It's just the same as last season repeat. It's not good enough. I don't know how he's still in a job. It's shocking, really.
So this the first season that we've been in the playoffs since 2006, your first game, and you're not very confident.
No.
This is the thing. This is why it's such a weird season. It's like last season we were going to have a sort of like an end of season sort of party, because we'd done one the year before and it was a good laugh. But because of the way the season ended, everyone was so annoyed that we'd finished, that we'd been in the playoffs and we'd limped out of the playoffs. And this season just kind of feels a little bit like that again, even though we're in the playoffs, which is weird. There's just the whole kind of atmosphere is, I guess it's like we put a couple of decent performances together against Hartlepool and York, and let's not, Hartlepool got hammered 5-1 yesterday by Rochdale. It's just we don't seem to be able to string anything together for any period of time. Like, we've got to win 3 games if we want to win the playoffs, and we can't seem to do it, can we?
No, exactly that. There's no chance of that happening, is there? Let's be real. Against obviously good sides as well. I had a look at the previous year's playoffs back to 2013, and with our grand points total of 70 points, we would have only made the playoffs once since 2013, 12-13 season, with our current points total, which is shocking, really.
It just shows how poor it is in this particular year, doesn't it?
We're lucky, really. We're still in playoffs. I think we're 20th in the form table of the last 20 games as well. So that speaks for itself.
The problem is, going forward on it, we missed your analysis there because you dropped out, but me and Sam were just talking about how it's so difficult to get up for what is essentially our first playoffs season in nearly 20 years. Because of this inconsistency, we're not inconsistent second half of the season, we're consistently bad. But like getting up for winning 3 games, it feels impossible. And yesterday we lost Fondop to injury. Caprice is injured, so we don't have the threat of Caprice. We don't have the presence of Fondop. I don't know what the situation is with Fondop's injury, but I think Caprice might be out. So it's not getting any easier as we head towards the playoffs, is it, Andy? And you were saying about having 2 trips to Forest Green. At this rate, we might not get past the quarterfinals.
Yeah, I can't see anyone get through the playoffs. I think we're going to go out and be fair. You point from
Andy, your internet's terrible again. Your new studio needs some better Wi-Fi, I'm afraid. You're dropping in and out. So it could just be being you this, Sam. So you need to get some more stats, mate. The thing is, right? What's frustrating? What it's a good stat that you brought there to the table, there, mate. That's a good one. I mean, because it feels like every team around us has done its best not to catch us, and it feels like we've done our best not to catch Forest Green and York and Barnet. When you consider how close we were to Barnet at the start of the season, and that's the frustration, isn't it? We have to look at it. We have to say, right, what's the root cause? I think Mickey Mellon's assessment was, he needs more from his players. He needs more from, and so he's kind of basically pointing the finger at them. And I think ultimately the fans are going to point the finger at the manager, and that seems to be the case, doesn't it?
Yeah, at the end of the day, he's had 4 transfer windows now. They're his players. Like it or not, they're his players. He's brought them in. They're not good enough. It's his responsibility. So it all lies on Mickey for me. I think we're 20 points off the relegation zone, and we're 29 points off Barnet. So we're closer to relegation than we are to where we thought we would have been at the start of the season, where we should be aiming for. It's not looking.
Yeah, they're on 99 points, Barnet. They've only lost 6 games all season.
Yeah,
I mean we've only lost 11, but we've drawn 16, and so have Forest Green. It's those draws are a killer.
But that's how he sets out. He sets out not to lose. So you're not going to win many games if you don't play to win.
I mean, yesterday he played one up front. He played Fondop, one striker, one recognised striker. I think in the first half he did have Jorgen Nathan and Hammond were further forward, and Jorgen Nathan tried to play close to Fondop, which was okay. There was a higher press going on, and there were more bodies forward. But when the real problem is that Fondop comes off injured, Garner goes on. And then Harrott comes on, and you're thinking this is not a strike force that's going to power us through the playoffs. And we keep coming back around to it, but you've got Nuttall, Willoughby, Reid all out on loan. Norwood's obviously injured, so there's 4 strikers there that are on the books that can't be used. You've got Garner coming off the bench. You've got the new lad Harrott, who looks okay, but he's going to need somebody more. Joe Garner, he's just limited now, isn't he, Joe Garner, to be fair? He's at the end of his career, and, no one knows that against him. It is what it is. And they're just there's a lack of firepower taking us into the playoffs. So I can understand in that respect that it is important for us to not concede cheap goals, because we're not going to score many. Having said that, we've had, like you said, 4 windows to recruit a strike force, and we've got one lad out on loan who's banging them in. I mean, regardless of, that's a whole debate, but the lad's scoring goals, isn't he? And he's playing for Wealdstone, who are in a relegation battle. So I don't know. What do you make of recruitment in general and the lack of firepower?
Yeah, recruitment's been very poor. I can't think of one player I'd keep next season. Maybe Raglan.
Manny?
Oh, Manny Month, yeah. But again, he's been injured, hasn't he, for half the season now.
Ogle?
Probably not, no.
No?
No, because he does that awful long throw that just doesn't ever work, and we always try to do it when he's playing, so no, for that reason, no. It's just been poor. Bit deflated, to be honest.
Well, that's the overriding overriding theme, I think, and it is weird. I mean, we've brought through somebody. I saw somebody on Twitter said that we've brought through 40 players this season, or maybe used 40 players.
Yeah,
That's a lot of players, and they counteracted that with the 1990-91 championship winning team. We had 18. We used 18 players all season. You know, and it's different. It's a different game now than it was then. But like, I mean, these lads now are much better athletes. You know, they look after themselves way better than the likes of Ian Marshall and Mike Milligan ever did. You know what I mean? And yet, I find it really frustrating. I think the big questions are over recruitment, right? Getting it right first time. You're not always going to get every single one right first time, but you have to get a significant proportion of them right first time when you bringing the right players in. And then also the management of the players and keeping them all happy. It seems a bit random, doesn't it? Players are in the team, they're in favour, then they're out of favour. And for me, you need consistency. Teams develop into a season. So the reason I thought we were going to get stronger as the season went on is because he'd find his best 11 and then sort of stick to it as much as possible. Now we've had injuries. Let's not beat around the bush on that. We have, but you've got to stay consistent if you're gonna grow as a team. And it feels just a lot of it seems scattergun and ad hoc. What do you think the reason for that might be?
Just poor management. Has he improved a single player? I can't think of one in the 2 years he's been here now. It seems like most players have gone backwards. You look at, was it Pritchard? He made his debut at Rochdale away. Come on, and he playing balls in channels, loads of good balls, and then that's been coached out of him. He's gone negative now, and it seems the same with every player. Was it Ollie Hammond looked good when he first come? Was he a young lad from Forest, Hammond?
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, he looked very good, and now he's just. What's the point of him now? I don't even know what sort of player he's meant to be.
We've had that with other players, haven't we? Like Josh Kerr come in, like he had a little bit of a spell where but he gets played in as a number 10, then he gets played out wide. Same with Otis Khan, he gets played as a number 10, then he gets played out wide. And I mentioned this the other week. It's almost like, on the phone, I think it was. It doesn't do them any favors. Like the players come in and they're good in a position generally. You know, you do get a few players who are genuinely versatile and play different positions. But we're in Division 5, so we're not talking about the best of the best. We're talking about players who have a position and are probably good in that position. We've got Will Sutton who played at right back in a nightmare. He's a centre half, and he does his best. And he has yesterday. He had a poor game, but I don't hold that against him because he's in and out of the team. He's playing, in and out of position. I think he's a good young prospect. But again, there's just that lack of consistency. We were giving the ball away cheaply yesterday. Raglan giving the ball away. Hobson giving the ball away. It's just, I mean, I understand some of it, that we're in Division 5 and we're not the best of the best. But then you look at other teams and you look at Barnet and you look at York over the season have managed to perform much, much better than we have. And ultimately, it all comes down to the manager. Now, again, I try and be positive and say that we are in the playoffs and we've still got a chance of getting promoted. And if we do, he's done his job. And you could turn around and say, has he done his job well? Has he been lucky? Whatever. Getting us promoted is the job. So if he does that, he's done his job.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, with the way that, like you said before, 20th in the form table since the start of the calendar year, and like I said, 2 decent performances: Hartlepool, York. Now we're back to square one with a very, very average poor performance against Forest Green. Are there any shots on goal again, if any? And it just doesn't give you confidence going into the playoffs. Now we need a resounding win against Ebbsfleet. You can see it now, Sam, can't you? Fondop's injured, right? So he starts with Garner and Harrott up front or something. We struggle to beat Ebbsfleet 1-0 if we're lucky. Or it could, because we just don't have the goals, do we? We're talking about a team that's bottom of the league, is already relegated. We should be going into that last game looking at a comfortable win. But then we go into that will take us, regardless of what happens, we'll be going into the playoffs. But it's about how we go into them, isn't it? In terms of the hope and the fans and our feeling. And what's your prediction for next Bank Holiday Monday's game against Ebbsfleet? Not in terms of score, but do you think, are you confident going into it that we'll we'll come into the playoffs?
But we do need to win, don't we? Because if we lose and Halifax win, they'll get the 5th position, which means we'll have 2 away games in the playoffs because we'll drop down to 6th.
Yeah, we need to win because if we draw, we're on the same points, aren't we? So if they better our result, then they'll go above us. They only need a draw and for us to lose, and and then we'll drop into 6th. Yeah,
typical Latics. Get turned over by an already relegated team, and
the thing is, Sam, it's looking like, in all likelihood, we're going to be playing Halifax either way. It's just a case of whether it's home or away, because because 5th plays 6th, don't they?
Yes.
4th plays 7th. So as it stands, Rochdale will be at home to Southend, and we'd be at home to Halifax. But if we end up swapping places with Halifax, we'd be away at Halifax, where we don't have a good record on that crappy pitch. The only positive about it is that would there be a lot of us being able to go to the away game. So
big away end, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the only positive. Which would you prefer, Halifax at home or away?
Now you said that, I didn't realise that. Probably Halifax away. It's a good away day. Some good boozers there. It's good fun.
Yeah, it's a weeknight, isn't it? So it's not
pocket day off work.
Right. It looks like I've just discovered a message from Andy. It looks like he's having Wi-Fi problems, not just in his new custom-built studio in the garden, but in the house in general, or maybe even in the area. So it doesn't look like it's going to be. It could come. Actually, I'll just pause it for 1 second. So so Halifax away is a decent trip out for us, I suppose, but I don't know. Do you fancy us more away from home or at Boundary Park?
There's less. I suppose there's less pressure, isn't there, if you're away? We seem to crumble at the big occasions at Boundary Park. Every time they do like that pat the park offer, we never win. Any sort of big game, the pressure, I think, gets to them. So maybe away might be better.
Maybe. I mean, I guess over the season our away form's been better than our home form, but I mean, it'd be nice if we could get over that and win some games. The thing is, I think if we finish, so in that fixture, if we finish 5th, so let's just say we finish 5th, we'll be away, like we said. No, we'll be at home, against Halifax, and then 5th is Eliminator A, and the winner of Eliminator Tuesday the 20th of May.
So that'd be York.
Plays York away. Yeah, so Halifax and York. I mean, in terms of locality, I guess they're 2 of the best fixtures, aren't they?
Oh, definitely.
You don't have to travel too far. We won't get that many tickets for York. We'll only get 1,400 tickets or so, like we did against. Yeah. Unless they have to give you more during the playoffs. I don't know.
You 15%. I think they have to give you.
Right.
So the ground's what's that? 8,000, 8,500 the ground.
Yeah.
So it's probably similar. 1,500. Is that what we got?
Yeah, it's about the same, isn't it? It's not. Yeah. It's not massive, is it? So. It'll be another clamour for tickets because despite everything, I thought that the attendance yesterday from the fans was fantastic. 500 plus last game against Forest Green, brilliant. I mean, it looked like a cracking day out. The butchers were out in force, weren't they? And plenty of banter going on down there, which is what it's all about. The last day of the season, go and have a laugh. Last away game of the season, and it could. It could end up being the last away game as well. If we do finish 5th and we play at home and we lose, then it will be the last away game of the season. So, I mean, you go away quite a bit, don't you, Sam? I've seen you various grounds over the last couple of seasons. what is it about? Is it just a day on the piss now that you enjoy about it as much as anything else? Like, because the football is generally terrible, isn't it?
Currently, I'd say so. No, I behaved at York. I went to York was my last game. I was in Birmingham the night before, so I drove up. Didn't have a drink, and I quite enjoyed it for a change. It was a weird one because Mellon come over for the first time in months and clapped the fans and got a good reception. It looked like we could have potentially turned a corner, and then it just seems like we've done the same at Forest Green that we have been doing. But yeah, no. So for away games, yeah, it's a good laugh, really, isn't it? I go on dogging coach normally. Sometimes get the train. So yeah, it's a good laugh.
Yeah, and look, I mean, I saw somebody, one of the some Twitter account, I think, can't remember what the name of it now, but they posted, Latics, the last 29 years, I think it was, and it was like 4 relegations, no promotions, no cup finals, and it was just, and we all know that, obviously, but just to see it like starkly put out like that in black and white, it was like, wow.
Yeah.
And so then he said, like, he's Oldham the most depressing team to support, and it's like, yeah, in terms of all that, yeah, it is. It has to be, doesn't it? I mean, we have to be. I mean, obviously, Bury have been through, Macclesfield have been through some really tough times, and we're not playing a little violin for us or anything like that. There are other clubs that have been through some,
they've all won promotion,
but yeah, it's been proper turgid for that 30 years, with the odd exception. Yeah. But the thing is, it is the camaraderie. It is that sort of like, even like your favourite memory was like the Harrogate thing. It's like you've got to take from it what you can, haven't you? Because it's thoroughly depressing on the whole, and we're just so desperate for a moment of I think, as much as anything, I think it's not just about the success and all. We're craving a win at Wembley. We're craving a trip. For me, it's the belief. It's just being confident. It's just and that's what was just before Christmas time this season. We're going into games, and I was looking at it like trying to be objective and say, right, yeah, I fancy us. We'll beat them. Just bear with me. Andy's ringing. Just gonna try and get him on. Hello. Right, we're trying to bring Andy back in, but we're trying to just on the mobile. He's having internet problems. What was I talking about, Sam? Oh, talking about belief and confidence, and for me, that's, look. We talk about it endlessly. We had Darren, Sue, and Luke on the podcast recently talking about Sports Town, and there's no doubt that the club is pointing in the right direction off the pitch. On the pitch, there, as bizarre as it sounds, there has been an improvement in that we are in the top 5 this season. Having said that, like you said, any other given season, we probably wouldn't be. So it does kind of that statistic papers over the cracks, to be fair, doesn't it? Yeah. But I think what I want is the belief that we're good enough. And before Christmas, I was looking at the fixtures, and we were playing whoever it was. And I was thinking, yeah, we're going to beat them this week. You're doing your predictions. You're going, yeah, Oldham will win, and that felt really good. And all building up to the York game, where we were really, really confident that we were going to beat York at home, weren't we? There was massive queues outside the ground in the fixture that we did play them eventually, but obviously the Boxing Day game was called off, and it's just that feeling of optimism and belief going into games that I really, really want back, because the football's here we go. Let's try, Andy. All right, Andy.
Does that work?
Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, I should have done that about half an hour ago. Yeah. So, I mean, Sam had just been chatting away with the odd stop and start here. But you know what I'm just talking about here is about, it's not so much about winning. And winning is important, because Oldham are really, really bad and have been for 29 years. Did you see that tweet that was out, Andy, where someone said, like, Oldham, promotion, relegations in the last 29 years, 4 promotions, none, playoff finals. It was just listed out in black and white how poor it was. And I'm just saying how belief and confidence, I'll take that. I'll take feeling good about where we're at, like on the pitch. And this season's just been so bizarre, because despite us being in this position, and like Sam said before, any other season wouldn't be in this position. So it's it's papered over the cracks a little bit, hasn't it? How are you feeling, Andy? Because you and I, you're the Zen master when it comes to Latics. How are you feeling now at this juncture? One game from the end of the season and with the playoffs ahead.
I feel pretty. I don't feel enthused by the whole affair. Let's put it that way. I'm not excited going into the playoffs like I should be. I can't see us getting through it. York and Forest Green deserve to play out the playoff final. We're as many points away from them as we are from the relegation zone. It's not. We, like Sam said earlier, 70 points wouldn't have been enough many times over in the past. So I think we're some way off being good enough and ready. And I'm kind of okay with that, in as much as things will continue to get better, I'm sure. But I feel it feels like we're going to have to be in this league for at least another year, doesn't it? Because I just don't see how we can come. If we go up, it'd be a proper travesty of justice to both York and Forest Green, wouldn't it? 20 odd points away from them.
It wouldn't be the first travesty of justice in this league, though, Andy. To be fair, it happens regularly. Notts County, Chesterfield, the Wrexham. They've finished on great point hauls and not gone up. So it does happen.
It does happen, but we're going to have to come through 3 games in order to get promoted. And how many times have we put 3 decent performances together this season? I know we've won 3 on the spin before, but it's been really laboured, horrible stuff to watch, and not necessarily against great sides that are in form themselves. So I just feel like to come through 3 games, the only way we're going to do it is to play for a draw, get a draw, and fluke our way through on penalties. And that's the thing that's kind of difficult to watch, isn't it? And the reason why it's quite difficult to get yourself up going to Forest Green away on the penultimate game of the season, because the chances are that Mellon's going to put out a team that are going to play really horrible defensive, 2 low block, 2 defensive midfielders. It's just pretty ugly to watch. So yeah, I was all prepared with the first half of the season to be patient with Mickey Mellon in the second half of the season, but it's just been pretty poor overall, and it has to be said. I can't see us going up, and hopefully there's a bit of a reset in the summer, because the squad pod's going to be interesting, because there's loads of out of contract players, and it could be, a whole rebuild for a manager in the summer, couldn't it?
Right, so that's the key thing then, for our manager in the summer. So, Sam, I'm pretty confident of your answer to this one, but I'll ask anyway, and I'll ask you both, and start with you, Sam. Is Mickey Mellon going to be in charge of Latics next season, and should he be? He's got a year left on his contract. He's obviously going to be with us to the end of the campaign, whenever that is. But what about next season, Sam?
Yeah, to be fair, I expect him to be. I would have got rid of him months ago, possibly end of last season after that collapse. Yeah, it's a worry, because it'll turn fast next year as soon as results don't go our way. The fans will turn quickly. A lot of them already have. I've turned. Season ticket sales will be down. I think significantly down. It's quite worrying if we stick with him. Even if we get promoted, we're still going to be in the same situation with awful football, negative tactics, and it'll just be same as.
Right. Well, that's the answer I was expecting from you. What about you,
Andy? Yeah. I expect. There's rumours flying around, isn't there, that Nicky Adams has retired from playing semi-pro football with Bury in order to take up a full-time coaching role at Latics. He's been seen on the touchline since that announcement a couple of games ago, and some people are hypothesising that he's being groomed for a greater role in management and coaching at the club. Potentially, Peter Clark might also be thinking about that sort of movement into management and coaching as well. Now he's sort of hanging up his boots. I And does that signify that Mickey Mellon is thinking about his future also? So he has a role outside of football. Is he going to retire? Are they going to come to some? All these things were unknown, aren't they? But there's going to have to be a conversation. We said this a few weeks now. There's going to have to be a conversation in the summer about style of football, because if we're going to play the style of football we've been playing for a fair chunk of this season, then it's going to have to get results more often than it has done. Because as Sam said earlier, if you look at the form table, we're in relegation form and have been for ages. There's no chance a team with relegation form wins the playoffs. So there's going to have to be a big review in the summer, isn't there?
Yeah, there really is, and I think I honestly think there seems to be quite a lot of variables. I think this season in terms of it's hard to judge Mellon if he's up for it. I think we've discussed it before about leadership and how you come across, and doesn't necessarily come across like a guy who's really, really up for it. But that is kind of his demeanour anyway, so it's hard to judge. Bringing in untested people like Nicky Adams and Peter Clark as well is a gamble. I think anything at this level is a gamble, and I think that's why they went with Mickey Mellon. I think they thought it was going to be, tried and tested. And I try and see the best in people. I try and see the positive outcomes, and so it's like he's got another year on his contract. There's part of me that wants to believe he can turn it around next season, but looking at the evidence in the way that we've recruited this season, the amount of people that have come through, the chopping, the changing, style of the football, the way the fans are feeling about him and where we're at. And like you said, Sam, season ticket sales, it'd be really interesting to know how those season ticket sales are going at the minute. And I'm not sure if we'll get that update from the club, but that we've got till the 1st of June, which is obviously the playoff final odds. It's 1st or 2nd of June to get the early birds in, I think, isn't it? So it's going to be interesting to see from that point of view. I don't know. I'm finding it hard to just. It's kind of like I have a contradiction in myself. I don't want us to get rid of managers every 2 minutes. I really don't. But I'm finding it harder and harder and harder to justify why you would keep him on after the capitulation in the second half of this season. When you look at the raw facts, the raw data, it's not encouraging. I thought people who were saying, look, you can't manage in the second half of the season. I thought, oh, that's ridiculous. How can you not manage in the second half of the season? How can you be good in the first half? But it has happened for the second time running. It has happened for the second season.
If he had some decent style of football, he'd get a lot more slack cut. So if he played something decent, you could watch it and see, there might be something happening next season. Fair enough, keep him on. But it's just terrible, isn't it, to watch? You can't. Every game, it seems, you get 1 or 2 shots. It's just boring. It's no fun going to the games at the minute at all.
No. Andy, what do you make of the fact that Fondop's injured? I mean, obviously, it just makes everything even harder, doesn't it? Because he has been our one source of goals, pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't had a good enough striker all season to compete at the very top echelons. You had Barnett have got more firepower, York have got more firepower. Altrincham have got a better centre forward than we have. So it's been difficult to find the goals really all season, and Fondop's done admirably well, given his ability. And so we're going to miss him for sure, and it's a real shame he's injured. But I just think we need to think about who we're going to sign in the summer. We need to get 2 quality strikers in at this level who will not be injured for 3/4 of the season, and you can rely on to get you 20 plus goals in that period, and then we should be better off. We haven't had any of those. So, I mean, we've got 2 fit strikers in Garner and Harrott.
He's going to have to recall Reid in it for the playoffs. Bring him. I mean, obviously he'll be coming back anyway because Wealdstone's season will be finished, but he's going to have to play him, isn't he?
I mean, I don't think he will play him. I think the obvious answer is to play Garner and Harrott up front. He's got to go with 2 strikers. He's got to at least give it a go. See,
but if he does that, Andy, and he needs to not going to have a strike on the bench, is he? Unless he puts Reid on the bench.
Well, he'll just have to, unless he puts Reid on the bench, or he'll play that sort of false 9 role with an attacking midfielder. I mean, where was Lundstrom yesterday? Is Lundstrom injured, or is this is all another carry on and fall out with a player again rumoured to have tried to push a move in January away to Barnet? Whether that's true or not, who knows? But these are the things. These are the other issues that probably need reviews. How many tissue and muscle injuries have we had this season? Waters is injured, Fondop's injured, Norwood's been perpetually injured, Garner's been injured. Charsley we've not seen after the first half a dozen games. We've just had players out on long-term injuries a lot. Hobson's been injured, Month's out, Ogle's been out a couple of times. I think we've had a significant number of injuries, and we've either been incredibly unlucky, we either sign injury-prone players, or we're doing something to them in training that's basically making their bodies on the edge, or any combination of those things, and that's going to need a bit of a review. We need to stop signing players that are injury-prone. So, yeah, the thing for me in the playoffs is all I want to see him have a go at trying to win the games. A bit like we did at York the other day, where he had a go in the game. If he doesn't have a go, if he sets up with a defensive low block, 2 defensive midfielders, 5 across the back, Joe Garner on his own up front in the playoffs, and we go out limply, everyone's going to be absolutely furious with him, myself included. He's got to have a go at it. If we get beat having a go by a side that's better than us, fair enough. Just have a go. Try and win the games, Yeah.
Well, we're not going to go up if we don't. My brother, we were on our way to when we were on our way to York in the van, and he's very outspoken, opinionated, and does not like Mickey Mellon at all. And he said in the van that he would, and he's not the only one, but I'm interested to think what you think. He was the only one in the van at the time. There was 3 of us who disagreed with him, but he said that he would rather us not go up this season and get Mickey Mellon than go up with Mickey Mellon. And I said, look, getting out of this division is more important in the grand scheme of things than anything else. And I'll take a fluky promotion under Mickey Mellon and cut that tie with the National League over anything. But you smiled and nodded, Sam. I'm sure you've heard people say that yourself, have you?
Yep, I completely. I completely agree. I'd rather stay down and sack Mickey Mellon than get promoted and have another year with Mickey Mellon.
Andy's shaking his head there.
Well, I mean, for me, that's a load of nonsense, isn't it?
That was what I said to our kid, but he was adamant, and we had a lot of an argument about it.
You're starving yourself for £2.5 million worth of revenue. What sane individual would say, I don't want £2.5 million worth of revenue into my limited company that loses £3 million a year? It's a nonsense. So we would want to try to go up. And if Mickey Mellon gets us up, then obviously you don't sack him because he's got you promoted, and you can't sack a promoted manager. So we'd then be in for a year of turgid football in League Two in order just to hopefully stay up and then reset again afterwards. But I'd rather that than risk another year down here, having to reset potentially with a new manager that wants 2 years, 3-year contracts to get us up. And, you could be marooned here for longer than you want. So we've got to try and go up now.
There's also no guarantee that, if we did get promoted this season, and I hope we do, by hook or by crook, that Mellon would be here next season anyway. His job is to get us out of this division. I don't see that he's here for the long term. From I think that's part of the thing. So if he comes up next season, it might be that he says, you know what, job done, time to build for the future, bring in another coach. So we don't know, do we? And look, we have a podcast. Our job is to discuss and speculate and what ifs and hypotheticals and all that kind of stuff. At the end of the day, we'll find out like everybody else does. But Yeah, me and Andy are on the same page there, Sam. I think getting out of this division financially is absolutely imperative, and the club can't start its rebuild properly until we're out of this division. In terms of the academy and all that kind of stuff. So it's desperate. I can't even understand that point of view. To be honest with you, it's kind of like putting your own disdain for an individual over what's best for the football club.
Yeah, I think it's a bit tongue in cheek. To be fair, obviously you want to get promoted, but it's just insufferable, isn't it? It's bad, but yeah, you're probably right there.
No, my brother would have died on that hill. Absolutely, it wasn't tongue in cheek. But look, I mean, I understand where he's coming from in terms of his frustration towards Mickey Mouse. I do understand that, and he tends to. He's like a lot of fans. They make their mind up pretty early on about people. I think sometimes we make our minds up a bit too quickly about players, because I think players can. You can be proven wrong by players, the next season, or you find out that they're actually not playing in the right position, or whatever it is. But I think with managers, a lot of people made their mind up very early about David Unsworth, and a lot of people have made their mind up early about Mickey Mellon. And I'm not saying that that's wrong. I'm just saying that that's the case. And as the season has progressed, he's not done much to make the critics eat their words. That's for sure. So yeah, it feels so weird. Andy, we're coming up in September when the new season kicks off. It'll be 5 years since we've been doing this for, and in that time we've only known relegation from the Football League, and finishing towards the bottom of League Two, relegation from League Two, and then 2 crappy mid-table finishes in the National League. We're 5th now, and we're going into the playoffs, and yet the mood from a football point of view doesn't seem any better. It's just, I can't imagine that if we were like, a couple of seasons ago, or last season even, if we were saying like we'll be 5th by hook or by crook, and we'd accept that we'd feel this sort of lethargic about it all. It's weird, isn't it?
Yeah, it is weird, but I guess that is a function of the fact that we've won 3 games in the last 16 or whatever it is, and our form since Christmas is, relegation form. That's the facts of the matter, and it doesn't inspire confidence going into it. I mean, it could all spark on one performance. We could have one performance where we look really good. And the whole mood changes, and that's what you're kind of hoping for. You're hoping that, if we do face that, it looks like we're going to be facing Halifax at home. And there is rumours Halifax have got problems with the Football League letting them into the league because of their ground ownership issues. So it could be like Gates said last season. They got kicked out. Could get kicked out. And could get a pass.
Yeah, that'd be handy.
Either way, if we get through that game and then we go away to York, and York feel the pressure, and we competed like we did last week and managed to nick a 1-0 win, the whole mood by the time you arrive at Wembley against Forest Green, for example, could be entirely different, and it could end. It is literally on a knife edge, isn't it? Literally on a knife edge. You don't know how it could spin, but the reason why
no, don't do a but. Because that's good. That was good. Let's just leave it at that there, like that, because that gives me a little bit of hope. And you know what it made me think of? I watched Crystal Palace v Aston Villa yesterday, where FA Cup semi-final at Wembley. And those Palace fans, I know Villa don't get there that often either, but watching those Palace fans at Wembley, they were over the moon. They were just so happy to be at Wembley in that game. In that occasion, and to be fair to Palace, they played brilliantly. They scored some fantastic goals. They were really, really good, and it was great to watch. But that could be us. That could be us at Wembley, just living our best life for one day out of 20 odd years. Like it could get to that point. So I think you summed that up beautifully, Andrew. There is still a scenario where things go our way. On June the 1st, we're at Wembley celebrating. A day out at the very least. So let's leave that there and let's move swiftly onto Latics Mind. Sam, I bet you're absolutely buzzing about this, aren't you?
Yeah. I don't normally do very well, so.
Right. Well, listen, you can't do any worse than the worst score on here of 0. So you'll just join the the legions of people that are on 0. Neil Kilkenny had 2 loan spells with Latics. During that time, who was his parent club?
Barnsley.
Incorrect. It was Birmingham City. Who did Latics sell to Sheffield United in August 2013?
Jose Baxter.
Yes. Which striker did Latics sign after his release from Birmingham in the summer of 2013?
Striker.
Yeah.
Ooh. Johnson Clark Harris.
It was Adam Rooney.
Ooh.
Who scored Latics' winner at Solihull this season?
Should know I was there. Fondop.
It was Billy Waters. Who scored twice in a 2-0 win at home to Oxford in March 2017?
Liam Kelly.
Oh, it was Lee Irwin. Who scored twice at Wimbledon in a 2-2 draw in April 2018?
Polion.
It was Duckens Nazon. Who scored his first Latics goal in a 5-3 win v Forest in August 1992?
Pass.
Which winger made an appearance as a trialist for Latics in the National League Cup versus Stoke City this season?
Pass.
Okay. What is the name of the goalkeeper Latics signed on loan from Cardiff this season?
Donaghy.
No, it was Jake Dennis.
Oh.
Who scored Latics' second equaliser at Dagenham this season?
Pass.
How many different competitions has Jez Uchegbalum scored in this season?
FA Cup and 2, 3, National League Cup.
What's your final answer?
3.
3 is correct. Okay, so you got 2 there. You did pass on who scored Latics first. I mean, Andy, you've already seen the questions, haven't you? So you probably know the answer.
Yeah, it's points after me. I've got the questions in front of me, so yeah.
Exactly. But it was Gunnar Haller who scored in the 5-3 win versus Forest. Which winger made an appearance as a trialist for Latics in the National League Cup versus Stoke this season? It was Jordan Garrick. And the other one, who scored Latics' second equaliser at Dagenham this season? It was Joe Pritchard. So you got 2. That's all right.
That's better than
people might say we're playing a bit hard and fast with the thing. You said 2 and then you said 3 when I get your final answer. So I mean, that's okay. I think it's okay. But
it was an instant change, wasn't it? So
yeah.
I'm having it.
It was all right. I'll take it. It was part of the adding up process that you got to 2, then you got to 3. So I think that's fair enough. So well done. 2's not bad. I was really when that Jose Baxter thing came up, so he's got to get this one. He's got to get this one. Yeah, I mean it's hard to believe that we signed Adam Rooney from Birmingham, innit? Because he would.
Yeah, how did he play there? Because they would have been in Championship then as well.
Yeah, it's mad, isn't it? Andy, we're gonna have to. Sorry, go on, mate.
I was going to say that was another former player who's done brilliant elsewhere. Because he went to, did he go Aberdeen after?
Aberdeen, he did. Banging them in, weren't he? Yeah, bizarre. Andy, we're going to have to get you on. We're going to have to get you on Latics Mind. We're going to have to get some. In fact, I'm going to put it out there for an end of season. Can our Latics Mind computer please process some Andy specific questions and send them to me, please? That would be tremendous, and we'll give Andy a grilling on Latics Mind. Right, Andy, we didn't have you for the whole thing, unfortunately, but we battled through. There's obviously some kind of cyber attack going on onto Wi-Fi in London at the minute, so that's just one of those things. But hopefully, everything will be up and running in your new studio soon. I need to find out what's happening with this fixture. Hopefully, we're going to finish 5th, because that way then I can come down to London for the podcast show and hopefully see you while I'm down there, Andy, which would be great. So fingers crossed for that. What we do? We're not doing a podcast next week, are we, Andy? Because or are we?
Well, yeah, because the final game, Ebbsfleet, is on Monday, so that's the day that the podcast would normally come out. So it will be bank holiday, and so therefore probably not suitable to record one. And there'll be no game to discuss after this. So you'll probably do a phone in this week, will you, to sort of pick up the preparations for that. Then we'll be back the following week with a podcast.
We'll do a phone in, won't we? We'll do a phone in after the Ebbsfleet game, I think.
Yeah, do a phone in after the Ebbsfleet game, and then whether we do a podcast in the build up to the playoffs or after the first playoff game or only playoff game, we'll find out. I guess we'll announce further down the line.
Anyway, right. Listen, thanks a lot, lads, for joining us, and enjoy the rest of this beautiful sunny spring day. See you later.
Hey Dave, did you know that listeners can now buy us a coffee or any other kind of hot beverage?
Ooh.
What's your favourite hot beverage, Dave?
A macchiato.
And how do you like your macchiato?
Black with lots of milk. Oh.
No cream?
No.
Well, if you want to buy Dave a
macchiato,
then go to buymeacoffee.com/We Are Oldham. I'll just have a Nescafe.
Ooh. Thank you, listeners.